Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB, and today we're going to be talking about something slightly different. It's not going to be a match preview or a review. We're going to be talking about transfers. Now that is quite something really when talking about Barca, because I'm afraid that this summer it's going to be rather quiet on the transfer front. Of course, we've still got the transfer ban that will go through, and just to clarify, we're not going to be able to do any business at all this summer. There will be nothing official in terms of transfers, in terms of negotiations. We can sell players, but we cannot sign anyone. We cannot agree anything with anyone. But what we can do is we can obviously talk with clubs, we can discuss things, but we cannot sign anything official. We can't officially agree anything with any club or player. And then in January of 2016, then we'll be able to do business again. We'll be able to sign players. But one player that continually pops up in discussion regarding Barcelona, regarding other clubs as well, is Paul Pogba. Now, that's a very, very interesting subject because we've been linked with him quite heavily. He said apparently a few years ago that he had a dream when he was younger of playing for either Arsenal or Barcelona, two clubs with the same sort of philosophy, the style of play, possession, which is interesting. Not sure if those quotes are entirely accurate, but again, it just helps to fuel the rumours. And there have been lots of reports in Spanish and Italian press linking Barca with the transfer. Now, our head of negotiations is Breda, who has been apparently speaking with Juventus quite heavily about the transfer of Paul Pogba. Now, it's not just us interested. There's a number of clubs around Europe interested in what is regarded to be one of the best young players, certainly the best young midfielders in world football at the moment. PSG apparently interested. Of course, they've got the cash to pay for him. Real Madrid were interested, apparently, but news breaking this morning that they may not be interested after hearing what Juventus want for him. There's clubs like Man United. Of course, he left them to join Juventus in the first place, but I can't really see him going back there. Man City linked. Basically, all the big clubs in Europe are all going to be having a look at him, have no doubt scouted him over the last 1 or 2 years. But basically, my question would be whether we're going to sign him, whether we're not, whether we're interested, whether we're not. Should we actually go ahead and pay the money and sign Paul Pogba if and when the time comes where he becomes available? Because Juventus at the moment is saying they do not want to sell Paul Pogba under any circumstances this summer. Now, that's very interesting again, because you're thinking, well, is it their aim to maybe sell him in January 2016 when we can sign players? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But all I'm saying is, should we sign Pogba? And the answer that I would come to is no. And there's a reason for that, and there's a number of reasons for that, and I've been quite vocal on Twitter when the news has been breaking over the last few days. I don't think we should go and sign him simply because of the price, and it's really stupid, and there's the one thing I don't believe in football. I think if the player is good enough, pay the money. With Luis Suarez, we paid the money. With Neymar, we paid the money. No matter how much it was, we don't know. But we paid the money, and if the player is good enough, just sign them up. But I'm sorry, but when you start getting, there's rumours this morning that Juventus want 100 million euros for Paul Pogba. This man is incredibly talented, he's incredibly young, and he has ambitions of becoming one of the world's best midfielders. But at the moment, at this very moment in time, I cannot see enough reason to go and pay 100 million euros for Paul Pogba. We signed Neymar. When he was in the same sort of position, he was really, really promising. He looked very, very good, a lot of talent. But you could see his quality, you really could, and he was performing for Brazil. He'd scored so many goals for Santos. It was a slight gamble bringing him over, but the quality was there and he really stood out. With Paul Pogba, the talent is definitely there, of course it is. But I still don't see enough evidence to pay 80, 100 million euros to sign a player like that. When we signed Luis Suarez, he'd consistently done it in the Premier League with Liverpool, outstanding performances, outrageous talent. We'd seen it, it was proven. And I think when you spend that much money, you look at Gareth Bale, who came to Real Madrid for his transfer fee. Gareth Bale's a very good player. There's no doubt about that. He's got very, very good talents. His attributes are very, very good. But is he worth the money they paid for him? You'd probably say not. And I just don't believe in jumping in for ridiculous money in football, no doubt quite high wages as well, when the talent is not quite proven. And especially because in January 2016, we're going to need to be intelligent. We're going to need to sign players in that January who are available, who we need. We may well need to sign a right back at that time. There's possibly a need for a midfielder, whether it be Pogba or somebody else. And there may well be more players to add depending on who we need at that current time. But I just think spending a big sum of our budget on a player who is no doubt very, very good. But what I'm saying is there are players and midfielders that we can sign that we could get for a rather reduced price than 80 to 100 million euros. And that's the price that I do genuinely believe that Juventus will be holding out for. And there are people out there who will pay it. PSG will pay it. I think they would pay it. They've got the money there. They don't really care about financial fair play. You saw with the signing of David Luiz, they really don't care. If they want someone, they'll go and buy him. Paul Pogba is a great player, but there are other options. Koke of Atletico Madrid, I don't think is an option for us, despite him being a very, very good player, well-rounded. He would suit our style of play down to a T. He's quite versatile in the way that Rakitic is versatile as well. He can play defensive midfield. He can play attacking midfield. He's very, very energetic, good on the ball, consistently in the Spanish national side. That's a reason for that. But I don't think he's interested in leaving Atletico Madrid. He's been there since he was a boy. He supported them as a kid growing up with his father. He cried apparently when they got relegated a number of years ago now. So I think he's Atletico Madrid through and through. So I don't really see him leaving. There's also been reports of Miralem Pjanic of Roma. Again, a very, very good player with the ball at his feet, very technical in that midfield role. Again, he's quite versatile. He's quite strong on the ball. But, the one thing that I look at, and the one thing that I did see on Twitter as well, we have got to stop thinking like Real Madrid. Every single summer and every single transfer window now, it's a Galactico signing, and we are not Real Madrid. It's that simple, really. The last few transfer windows, like I mentioned, Luis Suarez, big money for Neymar. We are not Real Madrid. We do not want to spend every single window on a new Galactico signing. We're a club who develops young players as a great academy, a great system, a philosophy. We nurture them into the first team. We try and make players grow. We try and help their confidence. We loan them out. We get them back in. And that's what we got to start doing again. This transfer ban could actually be a blessing in disguise. You've got to go back to our roots. You've got to go to our academy, find our players, look at what talent we already have before trying to spend the big money. And that's what I believe in doing. And especially as you look at our academy, you look at the players out on loan, and do we really need to sign a midfielder for that amount of money? You look at Denis Suarez on loan at Sevilla, had a brilliant season, considering it's his first season in La Liga at the top level. He's played brilliantly for Sevilla. He's put in some very, very good performances as well in Europe, in the Europa League. He scored some vital goals. He's a very, very good player, playing possibly more offensively in midfield, more of an Andres Iniesta than a Xavi. He plays more offensively on the front foot. He's better in the final third and playing that pass rather than receiving the ball in deep positions. You look at Alen Halilovic. There's going to be a few more years before we see him really prospering in the first team, but at the same time, there's talent there, that's for sure. And then you look at players like Sergi Samper. He's certainly ready to make the step up now. He can grow into that player who maybe not quite offensively as Denis Suarez, but he's certainly in that centre midfield role, in that holding midfield role, getting the ball deep, controlling play, dictating the tempo. And that's what it's all about. We've got players in our youth system. We've got Rafinha in the first team, of course, now. He's made brilliant strides this season. And it's all about seeing those players mature and grow. And if they are good enough, it's about giving them the chance to shine. We've got to start doing that again. We can't keep going out and buying players for a ridiculous amount of money, and that's why I'd say for the moment, do not go and sign Paul Pogba. Let's have a look at what we've already got. Let's have a look this summer and see what our academy can throw up for us. We've had some miraculous players come through in the past. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. That's all you need to say, really. Look at those players, look at those names. That's what can be achieved by looking within, and that's what they need to do. They understand the philosophy. They're big players in our academy. They understand the way our club works, and it's time they got a chance and an opportunity. So right now, I would say, don't sign Paul Pogba. Don't go out and spend that ludicrous money on a midfielder or anyone else for now. Let's have a look at what we've got, and we'll regroup in January 2016 and see what we can do then. So leave your thoughts down below, guys. Very, very interested to hear what you've got to say about that. It's a big topic, an interesting topic. Leave those down below. I'll see you very, very soon. Bayern Munich tomorrow. Let's get the job done. Visca el Barça.